story about us. Fifth graders from Red Hook, Brooklyn, New York City spent 2 years studying about plastic. How plastic is polluting our oceans, how plastic is killing our ocean friends,
and how plastic made from fossil fuels is warming the planet.
Hi, I'm Maggie.
Hi, and I'm Skyline.
We are going to show you our journey
Of finding solutions to the big problem of plastic.
We hope our journey inspires you.
And you take action all over the world. This is our school, PS 15, in Red Hook, Brooklyn. It's the beginning of the school year, and we're just starting 5th grade.
Today, we have plastic-free waters with cafeteria culture. It's our 2nd year in the program, and Lena is the teacher.
What this image is showing is that a lot of animals eat things that eat plastic, like plankton, or they just eat the plastic. All right, hold your questions for 1 second. Oh! Yo!
Really think about it. We're just making ourselves sick, because the more you litter, the more the fish are gonna eat it, and then you're gonna eat the fish. So really, you're just making yourself sick.
Especially sushi. Even though I love sushi.
At PS 15, we have 2 5th grade classes. This is my class. We're taking a field trip to Jamaica Bay, a beach in New York City. When we were in 4th grade, we learned that litter on the streets gets out into our waterways.
Now, we're learning what happens to plastic litter after it gets into the ocean and starts breaking down. But we need more information so we can take action.
Yeah, we have the rest of the school year to come up with an action plan. This is Rhonda from Cafeteria Culture. This is Miss Popo. And this is Miss Barzes, my classroom teachers. We're collecting and sorting the litter from most intact to most degraded. We found styrofoam bits everywhere.
In a wash sets and I'm cheese doodles, you know what I'm saying?
Half of the yellow bottle, so this one's like really degraded.
I could easily crumple this.
Wow.
This was been here for so long to the point I can't even find the other parts of the cup, and all I have to do is like not even add that much pressure, and it broke into little pieces. This bottle cap, the whole half is gone. So imagine a fish probably ate the piece of this cup.
It's look nice. Yeah.
All I gotta do is this.
Okay.
This is the pack. This is kind of degraded. This is really degraded. Should we make a disgusting face?
This is eating. What's it called? Intact. And this is intact.
Okay.
And this is slightly degraded, you know what I'm saying? And this is degraded and really degraded. Yeah.
Again, my name is Ranger Dan. I'm a park ranger for the National Park Service. One of the things that you guys did today was super important. And you can see as the pieces get smaller and smaller, it gets more and more like the things that might look like food to birds and fish and animals and turtles.
Skylene's class had good weather, but today, for my class, it's really raining.
We're off in the ocean.
This is very fun, but kind of cold. It's like starting to turn white and like the color drained from it.
Okay.
How does this place look to you guys?
Crusty.
Oh, look at the old lunch tray! Oh, that's true. And we kind of got more full.
So when I go to Dunkin' Donuts there, I don't do the styrofoam cups anymore.
These are my teachers, Miss Dolan and Miss Alzabi.
No more styrofoam for me. Use our reusable coffee mugs.
Yeah, bring the litter in the bus. We can transport the rest.
I am super interested in trying to solve the problem of how to keep plastic out of Jamaica Bay and how to keep plastic out of our oceans. A long time ago, like around 1920 or so, my grandfather got a job. He was a chemist, and he got a job for a man named Leo Baekeland. And Leo Baekeland had just invented plastic. And my grandfather said, let me figure out what you can do with that plastic. So my grandfather figured out ways to use microwaves to mold and shape plastic into things. And it was this hugely important invention. And it allowed us to shape plastic into all kinds of things. He won a big award and he got to go to the White House. But he didn't live long enough to see that his invention had a downside to it. Yeah, the plastic never disappears. So the plastic that he made back in 1930 or 1940 is still around today. That's my connection to plastic. Yes?
So, it's technically, he's the one that started all this mayhem with the plastic and sewers and bad stuff.
Yes, so what he thought was a really good thing, he used to say to me, plastic is great because now we don't have to cut down trees to get the things we need. And we still are really relying a whole lot on plastic. And now we've sort of become over-reliant on plastic. Way more things are made out of plastic than were made when he was inventing and using things.
Like our polyester clothes.
Yes, right.
We have got a lot of litter to sort. Some of the plastic looks like people just left it on the beach as litter. But lots of it looks like it's been in the water for a while. So, where's all this plastic coming from?
When we were in 4th grade, we learned that 80% of plastic litter in the ocean is coming from land. That means it's coming from us. But how does the litter on the streets get out into the ocean?
On good weather days, when there's no rain, when we flush our toilets or run the water in the sink, it goes down the drain into sewer pipes and to a wastewater treatment plant, where it gets filtered and treated. Then the water goes out into our waterways. When it rains, the city's sewer pipes can't handle the amount of water. So the rainwater and water from our sinks and toilets overflow directly to our waterways. It's called Combined Sewer Overflow System, most known as CSO.
Here we are on the Mary A. Whalen. It's a retired coastal oil tanker. It's the home of the nonprofit Portside, New York. Now we have inside this body of water here, this man-made body of water is called Atlantic Basin. There are 4 CSOs, combined sewer, I always forget whether it's overflows or outfalls. And one of those CSOs is right astern or behind the Mary Whalen. The situation where we have heavy rain and it brings the street litter along with sewage out CSOs into the harbor. And on the bad days, it's solid floating garbage in between the boat and the pier. It's awful. We were here all summer in 2010, and then we weren't here for 5 years, and we came back summer 2015. In those 5 years, I would say that the floating litter has gotten much worse.
This is not just in New York City. Over 700 cities in the United States have combined sewer overflow.
We're making degradation boards with the plastic litter that we brought back from the beach.
This is degraded, definitely degraded, because look, the colors inside degraded. Like anywhere you see this, they need to ban these bags, fishes, turtles, or birds. They are starving hungry, so they eat. Look at these little teddy bears.
This is what happens when you make plastic, so you should stop making the plastic. all these plastic items break down into millions of microplastics. It's not just hard plastics, but also chip bags and wrappers become microplastics. And plastic bags become microplastics too. Plastic foam? Of course, that's the worst. But how does this degradation happen?
When plastic litter is outside, like on the sidewalk or a beach, the sun's ultraviolet waves make the plastic brittle. Then, when the plastic litter gets into the water, the ocean waves act like a giant blender, shredding the plastic into smaller pieces. They become smaller, smaller, and smaller, breaking down into tiny, tiny microplastics.
How tiny are they really?
Microplastics are less than 5 millimeters long, the perfect size for fish to eat.
Are fish really eating plastic?
Let's ask Dr. Marcus. He's a scientist who studies plastic marine pollution.
I'm Marcus Erickson. I am an environmental scientist. I have studied plastics around the world, sailing over 60,000 miles to document where our plastic goes and the impact it has on other life. I remember we were on a homemade raft and we were drifting from Los Angeles to Hawaii. Caught this fish. Took a knife and we removed the meat on both sides. We filleted it. Out of curiosity, I look at the stomach and it's just bulging. It's expanded it to capacity. Took the knife and I just touched it and it popped open. So I filleted this fish thinking we're going to eat it, and here's what I found. It's full of plastic. This is the whole reason that we're out here.
That happens with the animals when you litter.
The absurd amount of plastic on that beach.
You can help dolphins. You can help turtles. To me, I love animals. Animals are everything to me.
We had the chance to learn more about the marine animals that we love.
My name is Eric Angel Ramos. My job is really exciting. I work as a scientist and I study marine mammals, so I think things like whales and dolphins and manatees. So as a scientist, part of what we do is we study their sounds to understand things in their environment. So what you're seeing here is a visual representation of sound. So dolphins make two kinds of sound. These are these click sounds. That's an echolocation. That's click, 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 click. And every time it comes back, they know, okay, there's a fish there. There's a big fish. There's a little fish that's 100 feet away. Dolphins, that was a little plastic bag. Get really confused. They have not yet figured out that that's actually plastic. No, it's not a fart. They're in a big ball together, playing and socializing. In a lot of ways, dolphins are really, really, really similar to humans. They're almost like an aquatic version of us. They live 60, 70 years, eat fish, spend the first about 6 or 7 years of their lives with their moms learning how to feed. They live in groups with other animals that they're not always related to, just like us here, and they have friends, just like us. That is a humpback whale. They sing songs. They use these songs to communicate to... Imagine you can't see in the water. We're making your sound looking for fish.
And you're seeing a jellyfish, but it's not really a jellyfish. It's basically the animals' ocean because it's their home and that's where they live. And if we put stuff in their ocean, they have family too.
By 2050, there will be more plastic than fish by weight in the ocean. This is 1 pound of fish.
And this is 1 pound of plastic bag. Let's put it in. 2050, we'll be 43 years old. And this is how our ocean will look like.
That's crazy.
I know.
We don't want this to happen.
Kids can do something about this.
That's what we did, right in our own neighborhood.
When we were in 4th grade, we did 3 street litter surveys.
Cups, plates, and containers.
And we found like a lot of wrappers. We found plastic cups and we found styrofoam.
We were like scientists, citizen scientists, recording how much litter and what kind of litter we found on specific blocks.
We are citizen scientists.
Can we do it up when the kid was like?
But why is collecting data so important? Let's hear from a scientist who collects a lot of important data around this plastic in the ocean issue. Here is Dr. Chelsea.
Okay. My name is Chelsea Rockman. I'm a professor at the University of Toronto. I mostly study plastic pollution. So we look at the trash, the plastic that enters the ocean, that enters the environment, and how it impacts wildlife. So this is my lab at the university, and it is where samples come in, and we quantify the amount of plastics in the samples. We measure what they are, how much is there. Yeah, so I thought a lot about, I guess, how I could be most impactful. So what could I do in my life where I could make a difference? And I strongly believe that science, data, information, evidence should inform policy. So I became a scientist so that I could produce the information that is necessary for those policymakers or decision makers to decide how they were going to do something good about it.
Can you tell me what you're doing for this?
We're making a bar graph of all the trash that we collected.
We presented our street litter data to the Department of Sanitation people.
You collected the data so thoroughly, makes a big difference, and I can take this to my boss now, and we have this information here about why it might make an impact.
We took community action.
Because the plastic bags go in the ocean and...
So we could save the animals with this?
Okay.
All right, I like that.
We want all our neighbors to be inspired.
That is beautiful. Aww.
After all the actions in the community, the amount of litter was reduced by 40%.
My 5th grade class is collecting and observing microplastics at a beach near our school.
We're gonna watch as things rise to the surface. We're gonna loop the stuff out of the surface water with this, and then we're gonna put it in here and use the pump. Sound good?
Okay. Yes. There's pieces of plastic all over here.
We're at Volunteer Pier, shifting through sand. As you see, we have a pile of sand right here. And we need to find a microplastic. Can we get water also go?
Wow, you put it everywhere. Like a stir fry. And the kitchen room twisted like a stir fry. Whip it.
Styrofoam. Styrofoam. I said styrofoam. A little styrofoam bead. Am I supposed to still warm up it?
Yeah, you can. What's the gauge say?
300.
Wait, the water's out. All the water's out.
You're a good host. I'm actually looking at all the microplastics that we found in sand.
And a microscope. This is just an iPad with the special zoom in camera.
Those are phones.
You have to be really close. They are close to that. Yeah, you want to get really close.
You have to be at the right distance to get the right focus. No, you're seeing it?
No, she just showed me.
Take photos and videos.
Hey guys, we're taking a video. Shush! It's going to be a quiet video. There's so much microplastics.
It looks like most of these just started as plastic litter. These are just one type of microplastic. And there are other types of microplastics such as nurdles. These are pellets to make plastic products. And these are microbeads, which are in toothpaste and cosmetic products like face wash and stuff. And microfibers. They come off your clothes. These are all microplastics.
But where are all these microplastics going? And how many microplastics are actually in the ocean?
Dr. Marcus will know. He sailed all over the world to study microplastics.
We're in the middle of the North Atlantic Gyre, also called the Sargasso Sea. It's called the Sargasso Sea because of sargassum. It's a kind of seaweed that filled our nets. But it's also full of small particles of plastic. Yeah, look down here. Look at that. I mean, crossing the entire ocean from Africa to South America, around the Cape, then onward to Hawaii, and across North Atlantic, from Europe to North America. I mean, long, long voyages. We found microplastics in every single water sample that we collected. After our long voyage across the North Atlantic, we sampled New York City waters. One sample in New York City had more microplastics than the previous 36 samples combined. We also found this in the Arctic as well. We were 18 degrees from the North Pole, really way up there. And as you look around you, you're in a pristine part of our planet. Yet, we found clouds of small particles emanating out of the gyres into remote waters. Other scientists have found microplastics in Antarctica, in snow and ice, and in the deepest part of the ocean. According to the United Nations, at least 51 trillion microplastic particles are already in our oceans. Microplastics are everywhere.
What's happening today?
We're going to City Hall.
Our classmates are going to testify at City Hall Council hearing on the combined sewer overflow problem.
This is my first time here. Oh, really?
Get to the public now. I know we have some students from PS15K.
Thank you for this opportunity to speak. We have been learning about plastic street litter that becomes dangerous marine pollution and how it gets there.
We collected street litter data from our streets in Red Hook.
In just one street litter survey in only one block in our neighborhood, we found 389 pieces of litter that will never biodegrade. Imagine how many pieces of litter there are in all of New York City.
All the plastic litter gets smaller and smaller, and it just keeps polluting our precious waterways and oceans.
We are students, and we know that the health of our oceans affects the health of all of us, that we need to reduce the amount of plastic litter going into our waters now.
Thank you all. Wow. I also want to recommend that DEP hires some of these individuals because they actually know what they're doing. Thank you for coming out and exercising democracy. All right, we're going to have our next panel.
Yeah, I think people understood.
Yeah?
We did good.
Good. I think they did a wonderful job. You guys were so terrific. It makes such a huge difference to hear from youth.
Angelina, were you nervous? Extremely.
I was extremely nervous.
I wasn't nervous.
That's why I messed up on the first part.
Now we know microplastics are everywhere. Remember that number? 51 trillion. Microplastics are polluting all around in our oceans. Not millions, not billions, but trillions. The problem is, those pieces get smaller and smaller until you can't see them anymore. and they stay around for a long, long time.
Then, how are 51 trillion microplastics hurting our oceans and wildlife?
Plankton can die from eating those like pieces of styrofoam, those microplastics and stuff.
What I think people don't understand is this tiny microplastic that gets into the ocean can get eaten by this lowest level of the food chain there, right? And well, zooplankton, which eats the phytoplankton. And this is the base of the food web in the ocean, but that is what's then eaten by the bigger fish, which is then eaten by the bigger fish. And then those whales and those sharks and those things that we think about when we see the ocean. But if the zooplankton in the ocean are struggling from microplastics and aren't doing as well, that'll impact that entire food web. The ocean produces a lot of the oxygen that we breathe. And so the ocean is incredibly important to us.
There's already a lot of pollution in the ocean, sewage, chemical toxins, and we're adding more and more plastic every single day.
So plastic is made from chemicals, right? Does that mean it's toxic?
Dr. Chelsea can tell us that.
Yeah, she's an eco-toxicologist. Wait, what is an eco-toxicologist?
So an eco-toxicologist is a big word. There's two words in there, right? So the eco is ecology. So ecology is the interaction of animals and their environment. And toxicology is looking at how toxins, chemicals, pollution impacts any organism, could be a human. So you combine those together, it's really looking at toxins in the environment and how they interact with wildlife.
Dr. Chelsea, are microplastics toxic?
So there's a couple different things that can make plastic toxic, right? So plastic is first of all produced from oil, right? So from chemicals that make oil. And then other chemicals are added to them to make them colorful, to make them last longer, to make them bendy, to make them so they don't shatter when they hit the ground. So lots of chemicals are added during manufacturing. If I purchase something off of the shelf, it already has some chemicals in it. So those could potentially be toxic. Then when the microplastic enters the ocean, or the lake, then it's a magnet for these other chemicals that are already in the environment. So if there's pesticides or flame retardant chemicals, they kind of like a magnet attach to the microplastics. This mixture, this cocktail of chemicals, some of which can be toxic.
Then 51 trillion microplastics are all collecting toxic chemicals.
So all of the plastic, yes, all of the plastics in the ocean are collecting toxins, and it happens very fast, right? So the minute a piece of plastic enters the water, it starts to accumulate the things that are already in the water.
What are the most common types of microplastics that you find?
So in most of our samples, the most common thing that we find are microfibers. So little bits of our clothing or our carpet or fishing rope that have shed off into basically tiny little fibers.
Are microfibers as big a problem as plastic litter?
But can somebody please raise their hand and tell me what we ended our class with last time? What were we talking about?
With a piece of clothing, of what will happen if you wash it, and microfibers will like just fly everywhere, stuff like that.
Absolutely, yes.
Synthetic fibers.
Yes, and those microfibers come from synthetic clothing, absolutely.
Microfibers are tiny pieces of lint that shed from our clothing and other textiles. Actually, 60% of our clothing in the whole world is made out of polyester or synthetic fabric, meaning it's made out of plastic. This is the raw material for making synthetics. It looks like plastic, right? Then it becomes thread that's woven to make our clothing. Basically, we are wearing plastic.
We're looking at different fabrics under the microscope.
So we have the polyester, we have cotton, we have 92% polyester and 8% spandex. You should draw what you see, write about it, and write what sample it is.
Like crazy blonde hair, and it looks like spaghetti. 100% cotton. It kind of looks like what kind of ugly sweater.
Cotton is from plants. It's not synthetic. but it takes a lot of water to grow cotton, and often pesticides are used. So switching from synthetic to cotton is not necessarily the answer.
What is that? It's the fibers that make up your shirt. Just like the fibers.
Oh, that was nasty. It looked like a pork. But what is
It is 50% polyester, 37% cotton, and 13% rayon.
Okay, write it over here. Write it over here.
But how do microfibers get into the environment?
When we do our laundry, microfibers shed from our clothes. When those tiny microfibers get to the wastewater plant, most of them go right through the filter. So they flow right out into our rivers and waterways. Microfibers fly out of dryer vents too, and go right into the air. They also just shed from our clothes when we move around.
A group of us are having a video chat with Rachel. She's an expert on microfiber pollution, leading research teams, and designing new solutions to protect our oceans.
Hi, I'm Rachel, and we have other people in the room. Hi, I'm Ashley.
Thank you so much for having us, we're happy to meet you.
We're sharing our experiment with her.
So these guys are showing. Oh, Brooke is coming down from above. This is Brooke.
Hello.
Both of them?
Mm-hmm. So show her what you have.
So we have a mason jar of water, and then we have some pieces of fabric. They're polyester, right? They are polyester fabrics, and we have the
Polyester
fabrics, then we have to put them in the jar.
And I have 100% cotton, and I'm gonna do the same.
All right, you've got 100% cotton.
Right.
Are you guys gonna do a little shake now?
Yeah, let's get close.
Can I put you turn it right there? Actually, yeah, that's great.
I don't want it to spill.
All right, so let's shake it. Shake it hard.
Shake it.
I think they've got a hand pump, which is, this is what we're gonna, like, if we, they like it, the fancy system. And they're also using all, like, this is just a unit, you know, you don't need the flask and all that.
We're admiring your science setup.
Thank you. Yeah, we see a bunch of little fibers in there.
Yeah, it's good. The filter's getting clogged. That means that the fibers really did fall off, yeah.
Okay. Let's see, yeah. Do you want to show her?
Oh, look at that!
Oh, yeah, you can see a ton on there.
And you barely even shook it up, no offense. Wow.
Awesome.
So is that the polyester sample?
Yes, polyester. A lot of them, so tiny.
Yeah, it's amazing how little they are. And it's amazing how little shake caused that many, isn't it?
I didn't know just from washing like our clothes it would cause something bad to happen to the earth and to like the plankton.
This is what we could do right now. Wash your clothes less if they're not too dirty. Wash your clothes in cold water and hang clothes out to dry when you can. And really, just buy less stuff. Then, tell your favorite fashion brands to make clothes differently. Meet with your policymakers, educate them about this huge problem, and ask them to help find solutions.
I have a great idea. We could make a portable washing machine. Have like a drawer, the water goes inside the little bin. You have a big filter to clean all the water, all the microfibers inside of the water, and then reuse the water.
I want to be an artist or like someone that makes clothing, so I can make clothes that doesn't hurt us. My dad fishes sometimes with his friend Alex. Alex eats some of the fish he catches. Are we eating plastic?
So now when we sample fish, we find microplastics in pretty much every single fish that we sample. Sometimes we find more than 100 pieces of microplastics in a single fish.
What about other seafoods? Or really any foods we eat? What else has plastic in it?
Certain scientists around the world have asked this question. They looked in honey, they looked in salt, they looked in beer, they looked in bottled water, tap water, many types of seafood, and have found microplastics. But what's even more interesting is that it's in the dust in the air. So as my plate or my cup of water sits out in my kitchen, the dust that falls into my sample is another source of microplastics that I might be eating. Some scientists actually asked this question quite recently. So they took 8 people from around the world and they asked for their poop and they looked for microplastics and they found it. So what this means is that it's very clear that we are exposed, that we are eating microplastics, but what we don't know is whether this matters. Does it just come out in our poop? Or does some of the plastic, if it's small enough, leave our gut and go into our bloodstream or into our organs? Do the chemicals on the plastics leave the plastics and go into our bloodstream or into our organs, as well as into animals? So there's a lot still to understand about when animals and people eat it, what that means for our bodies, their bodies, and for health.
Okay, so plankton eat plastic. Fish eat plastic. Turtles, whales, birds, and all kinds of seafood eat plastic.
And remember, microplastics are in our drinking water, salt, beer, honey, and in the air too.
We're all eating plastic.
It's really, I think we're finally becoming to recognize that this is not an ocean problem. It's more of a global pollutant, the way we think of some of the other pollutants.
We asked ourselves, is stop littering enough to solve this big problem?
Will recycling more be the answer? This is our cafeteria.
To be honest, we have a lot of plastic in our cafeteria. Plastic forks, chip bags, sauce packets, plastic cups for water, dressing packets. A lot of plastics from home lunch, and of course, store-bought lunch too. We are one out of the 100 zero-waste schools in New York City. We are supposed to have zero, no trash. This is the amazing Miss Knight. She's with us during lunch, and she's very strict about how we sort our waste.
If you get confused, just look at the chart. So, this system. Beautiful. Great chart. Stop. You wait for your turn. So, excellent. What are you going to do with that? The places that we are recycling and taking out trash, it's taking up a lot of space on the planet. This is my favorite group right here, because they do know better. Now it has to be cool for them to do so, and it has to be the right thing, and they have to appreciate that it's the right thing for them to do so. So I love this group the most because they get it. It's just whether or not they want to do it from their inside. But they know for sure. Oh, they definitely know.
We kind of do okay with sorting our waste, but not really zero waste, I would say. My class is conducting a waste audit to see how much plastic we have in our cafeteria.
Wait, I'm trying to get that.
Let's go.
No, the plastic bag has a... We want to, tell the people that, not to use plastic. See how many plastic bottles we got here? It's a lot.
Just look at it. How could we package food, make suggestions, so that we don't have this?
We use these items only once for a short period of time. These are called single-use plastics. Some are the same single-use plastic items that we found on the street and the beach. We recycle as much as possible and no littering. But is our cafeteria plastic part of the plastic pollution problem?
Yes, it is. Plastic in children's school cafeterias is a part of the overall plastic pollution problem. I'm Judith Enck. I am a visiting professor at Bennington College, and I previously served as a regional administrator at the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency during the administration of President Barack Obama. Plastic is made from chemicals and fossil fuel, and fossil fuels are extracted from the earth. When you're producing or burning oil or gas, you're warming the planet. So using single-use plastic packaging is directly linked to climate change.
Wait, single-use plastics are doing bad things for the earth even before they get to us? Is making plastic also a problem?
We need to understand more about plastics from start to finish. Both classes are creating maps to learn about the life cycle of single-use plastics.
Plastic bottles and how their life cycle.
We already know that getting rid of plastic is a problem. What we want to understand is producing plastic is a problem from the very beginning of its life all the way to the end of its life. Now that the kids have done such good research and asked really good questions, and they're able to say, this is not just a me problem or an us problem, it's a much bigger problem, it's a systemic problem.
Water trying to get oil, but the oil is formed when a long time ago there are all these little animals and their fossils got down deep under the earth and they got smushed and that made oil.
Oil, coal, and natural gas are all fossil fuels.
Plastic bottles that turns into polyester. And when you wash your clothes, the microfibers go into the ocean, so the fish starts to eat.
Wait, maybe we're learning about this, so maybe we can find strategies to help.
So for years, single-use plastic packaging was made from oil. Recently, it's shifted to be made by a byproduct of fracking called ethane, which is heated and becomes ethylene. And then that ethylene is used to make single-use plastic packaging in these giant new factories called ethylene cracker plants. And there are over 250 proposed ethylene cracker plants for the United States. And the companies that are building these ethylene cracker facilities are names we all know. It's Exxon, it's Shell, it's BP, it's Dow, it's DuPont. They are investing more than $164 billion into these new plants to make even more plastic packaging. Even if half of them wind up getting built, it will lock us into more plastic future. The material is going to be flooding the market, and if we don't use it in the United States, it will be exported to other countries.
If we're using oil and other fossil fuels to make plastic, is plastic hurting our environment and people too?
Virtually no plastic is reused. Less than 10% of it is recycled, so most of it is either buried in a landfill, burned in an incinerator, causing air pollution, or winds up in the ocean where it lasts for centuries. And when you burn plastic, dioxin is formed, and that's one of the most toxic materials known in science. It could really damage your health in terms of cancer and other illnesses. It's really heartbreaking that ethylene cracker plants and garbage incinerators and facilities like that often wind up in low-income communities and communities of color. Adults and kids in these communities will suffer because of more air pollution and more water pollution, just because we want to use plastics for 10 or 15 minutes. It's quite a bad cycle that we need to nip in the bud, not build these facilities and make a massive shift toward reusable, and recycling is not enough. We have to make less plastic in order to protect our oceans and to protect all communities around the world.
What do we want? What do we want it now? What do we want?
So, the plastic in the cafeteria is a part of the plastic pollution problem. If we keep using these disposable single-use plastics, then companies make more and more of these plastic items. That creates more and more pollution, harming communities and kids like us. And more plastics end up in the ocean as toxic litter. So what we need to do is simple. We need to reduce plastic altogether. Reduce plastic that's trash, and reduce plastic that's recyclable too. We want absolutely no single-use plastic, period. You still need to be a good recycler, but you have to reduce first. If enough of us stop buying single-use plastics, then companies will make less.
Then it'll be less pollution, less plastic going into the ocean, and less fossil fuels needed to make plastic in the first place.
Absolutely. We need to use less plastic to fight climate change.
In 2012, Hurricane Sandy came. We had to evacuate for a month.
Did you know that the plastic problem is connected to Sandy?
Oh, I didn't make the connection with Sandy, but I know that plastic is not usually good. So when Sandy came, it was destroyed.
The river was overran. The water came gushing like there was no tomorrow at all.
Plastic is made of fossil fuels, which are very bad fuels for the earth.
Of course, of course.
Since we don't want Sandy happening again, and that would be like really a disaster, we are trying to reduce the amount of plastic we use. So when you go to the store and instead of getting a plastic bag, you can use that.
Yeah, they say they're going to get rid of the bags, the straws. It's just, which is a start, but it goes back to us. Let's just eliminate it altogether.
Yeah. Even a play bowl when you're bored. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Miss Knight.
How are you today?
Good. How long you been living here?
49 years. My 5-minute commute. PS15. As a matter of fact, I started 3rd grade in that school. Again, this is home. PS15, red hook houses, home. It's a nice commute. The area has changed dramatically as well. If you pan over there, we have those high-end townhouses. They're worth millions of dollars. And then we have the red hook houses where the red hook community resides and gets up and go to work and provide a living for their family.
Our classmates are having a conversation about Red Hook, our neighborhood.
Can you tell me something that's special about Red Hook?
Nice people and nice stray animals because they don't attack me.
If you could change something about Red Hook, what would you change?
The graffiti.
The
violence. Everything.
Okay, violence.
I do like the graffiti. And for everybody to have a home.
Great.
Everyone to have a home. That's great.
Anything else you want?
That is not incorrect.
For Red Hook?
Yeah.
Stores? Okay.
More there's a lot of expensive clothes that some people can't afford.
Okay.
Today, they're having another conversation about plastic and responsibility.
When we talk about the plastic litter problem, who do we blame?
we blame ourselves.
Okay, Michaela, can you say more about that?
It's not our fault, but then it kind of is our fault because it's not our fault that people make plastic bottles to hold water in. And it is our fault that when we do buy the plastic bottles, we like throw it on the floor. So that is our fault.
We have a lot of people for power.
To buy the
We have a lot of
plastic
power.
stuff.
Right. Yes. And where's their power come from?
Money.
Absolutely.
All people care about is being rich. But then, if you care about being rich, the poor is like going to be like poor. That's what they call.
Yeah. We buy stuff that's made of plastic. It's out of our control that it's made out of plastic, right? Then if we litter or if we throw it away,
It's our fault.
well, then who cleans it up?
The sanitary people.
Yep, the Department of Sanitation. And who pays the Department of Sanitation?
Government.
Yes, who pays the government?
President.
No.
Us.
Yes.
We pay the government.
I just paid my taxes last night. That's how
pay
people pay the
taxes.
government. We pay the government. Has anybody's parents talked to them about paying taxes?
Yep.
No.
All the
Okay.
time. We pay to clean up plastics. Basically, we're paying double every time we buy plastics.
What do the companies do? If they were listening to us, what would we tell them?
Stop making plastic.
Just quit.
Yeah, I feel like the company should get like in trouble in a way because it's their fault for making the plastic, using all the stuff, all the resources.
It's really not fair because they're getting away like with plastic getting into our fish and then we eat the fish.
They would only care about money because they just want to get their product out there just so they can get money. But I guess you should put your company on pause and how about you worry about the earth and global warming?
I see them caring, I see them learning, because the school is setting the tone. So if they see it being implemented at school, and if they don't go home and see it being implemented in where they live, grounds are strewn with trash. It's still like a disconnect, and I can see how the older children would feel that way, because they're more cognizant of the dysfunction of it outside of school. This community is full of wonderful families, beautiful children, I mean beautiful people that just need an opportunity and to support not one person or one group or one, it's everybody. So the same effort that's taking place within the school, it takes that much effort outside the school to make it successful in the community. All hands on deck.
I'm going to show you our house today.
Yo, Miss Meg was on. Oh,
Hey.
you got a camera? Oh.
Hello. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you. So that's when we started doing the thing, because I saw it on YouTube a couple of times when you went plastic free for 1 week. And it wasn't that challenging, but it was also challenging. We couldn't use the like plastic bags, so we just like kind of put it into a reusable bag.
It's been a little tricky. You forget sometimes. We say no bag, no thank you. They put in the bag anyway. We take it out.
So we started using paper straws. The paper straws don't last as long as the metal ones, of course, because when you drink out of them, they kind of get softer, but you can use them like 3 times. Now we only use glass.
Right, all the,
And metal.
cookware and stuff. So we're trying.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Let's look at our cafeteria again.
If we want to stop plastic pollution, we need to do way more than just worry about where it all goes when we're done with it.
Remember, we need to reduce all the plastic. There's less plastic than there used to be.
We use these plates. These are compostable.
They're not made of plastic, but paper. Do you know which bin they go in?
It goes in the brown bin.
And then after that, tell me who knows what happens to all this food.
It helps flowers grow.
And what else? What else grows?
And plants and trees and leaves and stuff.
Gwen is from Oregon. Gwen, did they recycle at your school in Oregon? You did?
Pretty much just containers.
Just containers?
Yeah.
But no composting food? No? Well, welcome to New York. Welcome to New York City. We're trying hard here on the East Coast, yes?
These compostable plates, along with food scraps and napkins, will become soil one day.
We used to eat lunch off of plastic trays, plastic styrofoam trays. Plastic styrofoam, also called expanded polystyrene foam or EPS foam. New York City schools were throwing away 850,000 styrofoam trays per day. Stacked up, that's 8 times higher than the Empire State Building. Cafeteria Culture partnered with lots of people, parents, teachers, school food directors, and kids, to get styrofoam trays out of schools.
But there was a roadblock. Compostable plates were too expensive. So, what did they do? Let's ask Mr. Stephen O'Brien. He's one of the directors from New York City School Food.
Do you remember eating off of styrofoam plates? Okay, so that makes me super happy because we worked really hard to get a round compostable plate, and we've had it now for about 3 years, which is really, really good.
Like, it's really cheap to get like styrofoam and plastic and everything, but as we buy more, we just make it a cheaper price, then people will want to buy more of it.
So if more people buy the same item, right, then the price should probably come down, right? So what we did is we created the Urban School Food Alliance. 10 of the large cities in the country, like Los Angeles, Chicago, Miami, Dallas, and others, and we buy together, we're going to be able to bring that up to, let's say, close to 2 million meals a day. And we ended up getting a round compostable plate at a much better price. So that made everybody happy.
It is impossible to be a zero-waste school for the packaging of the food that we're getting now.
So you're a zero-waste school. So part of the reason that I'm here is to support that effort. We're going to be bringing out compostable forks, knives, and spoons soon, and we're moving in that direction. So first was the plate, next year will be the utensils. We're hoping to get additional containers. Those are all happening. Thank you so much, everybody. Enjoy lunch.
It took a lot of hard work, but we won the victory and got styrofoam out of schools. Now, we need to get styrofoam out of all of New York City. In 2013, City Council actually voted to ban styrofoam, but the companies that make styrofoam sued the city twice, blocking the ban. To understand both sides of the issue, our classes are having a debate. Cafeteria Culture wants us to understand both sides of the issue, for the ban and against the ban. Our first debate was last year. Nobody wanted to be on the company side speaking against the ban. So this time, our teachers are representing the plastic foam companies, speaking against the ban.
Because it breaks down really easily and it's really hard to clean up and go into the ocean.
It wouldn't be in the ocean if people just disposed of it correctly. That's not a foam problem. But you try to blame it on us that we're doing it, but we didn't do anything. But you made it. We're trying to recycle it and turn it into different products, like surfboards and frames, like picture frames.
And you make it into a new product. Eventually that new product is gonna break, but you have to throw away.
when you buy your food and you get it and it's stored in the styrofoam, it's a lot cleaner and more sanitary.
But technically, there's still chemicals in the foam. And on top of it, you're still polluting the air with your machines.
And when it's incinerated and it burns, it creates air pollution that makes like toxic winds.
The U.S. Department of Health added styrene to its list of known or possible carcinogens that could cause cancer.
Nothing is absolutely definitive, so I don't know why you're out there banning our innocent little products.
We never asked to have styrofoam in our foods. We were just given styrofoam in our foods. We can wrap the foods in paper and we would still get, like without germs.
Because you only care about you and your company making money. You don't care about the environment. You don't care about the rainforest. You just come up with excuses that your company is good. Because we're just defending our environment and we have the right to do that. You're just defending your money.
Oh my. We have departments. We have departments that plant trees. We do a lot of good. We have.
While we're working on the polystyrene foam ban,
Our group is taking the next step to get rid of all the single-use plastics in the cafeteria.
Like, see how this grilled cheese come in plastic? We don't want it to come in plastic. And for the fork, ask that people bring their own forks.
now that we are getting close to the end of the school year, we are ready to make a big change in our cafeteria.
What if we lead a plastic-free lunch day in our cafeteria? Then we can show other schools how we do it and get schools in the whole city to join us. We're taking our idea to Miss Madison, our principal. An important step for making change is to ask.
Hello, Miss Madison.
We would like to ask you
If we can have one day with no a lunch with no packaging.
A lunch with no packages.
For the whole school.
So a school-wide effort. Okay, that's very, very ambitious, quite ambitious. Are you prepared to share your plan in writing?
Yeah.
So what you have to get done?
Gotta write the letter to the food director to get his approval.
Okay.
Meanwhile, the foam group is warming up for their call with our council member, Carlos Menchaca. We have something very important to ask him.
Hi, it's Debbie Lee. I'm here with 3 PS15 fifth graders, and we're wondering if our FaceTime chat with Councilmember Menchaca is still on for today.
Oh, you hadn't called yet, huh?
No, we're still waiting, but we're excited. Right, guys?
Yeah.
All right, give me 1 second.
Okay.
I'm going to go call him. I want to see if he got out of that budget hearing, okay?
Hello, Councilmember Menchaca.
I'm FaceTiming you from City Hall here in Manhattan.
And we want you to sign on Intro 135, the bill to ban expanded polystyrene.
Awesome. Well, I have read the bill, so it's a concern for the environment then.
Yes.
If a 5th grade student comes to me and says, this is important, we should listen, all of us. I want to announce to you now that I'm going to be signing on to this bill with huge enthusiasm and really dedicating my commitment, dedicating my time and effort to make sure that this bill is successful.
In just a few weeks, the whole 5th grade is going to City Hall to lead the youth rally to ban foam. We have to do this now, before the end of the school year, because soon we're all graduating from 5th grade and we will be in different schools next year.
Dear foam companies, your foam is hurting our oceans. Oh, really? Foam isn't a part of your diet. Why is it a part of mine?
Meanwhile, our principal has an update about plastic-free lunch day.
So May 10th will be a plastic-free day in our cafeteria. at PS 15. So congratulations. Great job.
Like if we only have this much, and that will be better than this whole thing.
Our special requests for the plastic-free lunch day are
no plastic forks, bring your own fork.
sandwiches, unwrapped,
Salad dressing in a squeeze bottle.
no duck sauce packets for that day. We got a donation of these reusable water bottles.
The 5th graders got the nice stainless steel bottles. The rest of the school got the plastic bottles.
Well, at least they're reusable.
And many of the students never had reusable bottles.
So it's a great start.
We are having a plastic-free lunch.
Some kids might have left their forks at home.
They're reusable.
Oh, no plastic. There's no plastic.
You said say nice job.
Plastic.
It did. That's good.
Actually, we should do this every day because the forks make us feel more united in eating.
And try your best to remember that you do have an ability to make a difference, even if it's just here at PS 15.
We want to say a big thank you to the school for supporting this and allowing this to happen.
Everybody, big hands up.
We are counting all the plastic items, both trash and recyclables.
Plastic free lunch day was successful?
Yes, but people are still using plastic.
There is not a single piece of plastic from school food service except for the milk cartons. All the plastic is from home or store-bought lunch.
Not bad, not bad.
We reduced plastic items by 558 items.
There are about 1,800 public schools in New York City.
If all 1,800 schools reduced the same amount, it would be 558 times 1,800 equals about 1 million less plastic items in New York City schools just from lunch per day.
This is how much we get from one school. How much do we get from the whole world?
You should start plastic-free lunch day in your school.
We are ready for the next big plastic-free action.
Are you nervous?
A little bit.
A little bit.
That was 2. Let's go, Jay.
So, why are you here today?
We're here today to show that students can get involved and
ban styrofoam. We want to keep our oceans clean. I'm here to support you and also to support all the kids here who are leading the fight.
Yes.
We are the people too. I'm living loud and free. We want to plan on GPS phone.
say thank you guys for teaching us.
What you're feeling right now?
Scared. Stomach hurts.
I'm nervous. I'm scared.
Welcome to the New York City Youth Rally to ban expanded polystyrene foam.
We are asking our city council to help us with something important for our future.
For one thing, expanded polystyrene foam is toxic.
My dad gets coffee from the corner store. I worry he might get sick over time.
The people who make expanded polystyrene foam want to recycle it, but we say no. We don't want to keep it around at all.
Our ocean cannot wait!
Styrofoam can kill animals.
Recycling EPS is not a solution.
If New York City stops using EPS foam,
We might be young, but we can make a change.
So are you ready to get rid of styrofoam? Do you want New York City to be styrofoam free? All right, you're leading the way. Great job, everyone. Thank you for all you are doing.
Thank you for all those who came and helped us out.
I thought it was only PS15, the 5th graders.
People in high school and second grade.
The mayor came and he said he wants to help us and he has people helping us.
So as a kid, you definitely have a voice. Write letters to your city councilors, write letters to the senators, to the state representatives. Go visit them and go talk to them about what you think is important. And they're much more interested in what the next generation has to say than what we have to say.
To everybody who's watching this, y'all should step up your game because there's a lot of plastic and we're going to be suffocating.
don't be scared to stand up. Even if you feel like you're too young to make a change, you can still do it if you put your mind to it.
Is that to solve this problem, we have to go way upstream, back to land. The ocean told me to go back on land. That's where I meet people like you. We're seeing grocery stores give out reusable bags. We're seeing more and more people use reusable bottles, and it begins with you.
Talk to the teacher or the principal about having a plastic-free lunch day like we did in 5th grade and celebrate saving the world.
Why wait for tomorrow?
We need to act now.
We the kids, we have the power to make a beautiful planet.
And you are invited.
Take action today. Go to microplasticmadness.org. See what actions you can take right now at school, at home, and in your community.
Do